some when you're coming in, drop me a quick line where you're coming in from. Fantastic Saturday evening, long day here, long week, my goodness. I thought I'm gonna round this Saturday up with some flashback, 2015, 2016, and kind of draw some parallels to what we're seeing right now. And then let's talk what made the crypto markets recover back then and what might be needed now to make them recover. So quite interesting chat, I think, and interesting stuff that we should talk. So if you come in, drop me a line where you're coming in from. I see a lot of people from Germany. My gosh, yes, it's late evening here in Singapore. A lot of people from Austria. Fantastic. Wow, all around the world. Very cool. Please give me a thumbs up for the video. It's going to be very important that people see this. Trust me. There's going to be a lot of value in this. So I'm going to give you a really brief rundown on how I got into blockchain and then basically what are the lessons that I kind of learned from those years and what I see now and what would be needed right now for the price to recover. So the very first time I got into cryptocurrencies was 2011. I was still working as a medical doctor. A patient of mine pitched Bitcoin to me. And he actually wanted to send me some Bitcoins. He had a heel fracture. It's called a calcaneus fracture. And he came in for a checkup. And he told me about Bitcoin having risen from 20 cents to $1. And he was so excited. He said, this is going to be the next big thing. And he asked me to register for this thing and download this app. And then he would send me a couple of Bitcoins. And I was just so annoyed because, you know, I had all these patients and I didn't want to deal with all this. So I just said, yeah, we'll do this later. And I kind of never talked about this anymore. And then it was 3 years later when I met Toby. And Toby did the only smart thing. He didn't explain cryptocurrencies to me. He explained blockchain to me. And this was really, really, really important because that's how my scientific brain really kind of paid attention. And this was actually very important. And my very first use case that I would have loved to see on a blockchain that I wanted to work on is actually a medical application, how to store patient data. But this was really early back then. And so in 2015, and actually in 2014, 2015, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of you who know me from back then that I spoke to about blockchain. I still remember with Matthias from Switzerland, man, we talked so many potential applications through that were possible. And and then at the end, I just decided finance is going to be the place at the moment. And that's actually how I got 2015 into cryptocurrencies. And basically with 10x with Toby. So it was just because I really actually wanted to do another application. I personally never thought cryptocurrencies was the most exciting application of a blockchain. I think there might be other applications that are a bit more exciting. Maybe not financially, but from a technological perspective or from what blockchain can do. But this is, I guess, a topic for another day. So when I got into blockchain and I bought my very first Bitcoin in 2014, Bitcoin was just down from its drop from 1200. Mt. Gox had just blown up and it was at 800. And I thought I was going to be so smart and I'm going to buy Bitcoin at a discount, right? All these losers had just bought Bitcoin at 1200 and I get it at 800. So I had like a 30% discount or a 33% discount. Wow, that was fantastic. But the problem was, it went from 800 to 700 to 600 to 500. And the reason I actually tweeted today, wow, this just feels like 2014, 2015, because, and I can't remember the exact day this happened, I would have to look it up. But I remember waking up and we had this kind of roller coaster ride. And then there was this huge drop in one day out of nowhere. And this was like the stab in my heart because I'd just been losing money in cryptocurrencies. And I was so fed up with the system that I said, you know, when Bitcoin hits 400, man, I'm out because I think this is going to be worthless. This is just going to be a race to the bottom. This ship has sailed. I'm going to get out. And so I sold all my Bitcoins after that. Well, for those of you that were already in crypto, something very interesting happened. And this is what I want to discuss. And basically what you see today is, well, Bitcoin went to 350, 3, 250, and then it started turning around, and my FOMO started setting in when Bitcoin hit again 500, because I was like, I'm not going to miss that train. I sold at 400. I'm not going to miss that train when this thing starts riding. And since then, I have pretty much held and actually been buying more all the way till last Christmas. And this was when I've been calling out everyone that we are completely overbought and it's time to take something out. And this was when I sold approximately 20%. And well, for me, this was quite a long, it's 3 years approximately that I have been holding. And I've not really been selling in between. I've just been investing in anything that I had. And what I want to talk on this entire journey, because it just feels so similar again, because just today I woke up and I was like, wow, I mean, I didn't feel the stab in my heart, but I felt like, wow, where did this drop come from, right? And I talked to a couple of friends that actually know this stuff, where what's happening, is anything large happening, and no one really kind of knew, so this felt so similar. And so I was then reflecting, what made the markets turn around? What back then made the markets turn around? And because my guesstimation is that it's going to be the same thing that's going to turn it around this time again. And what turned it around back then, as weird as it sounds, was Ethereum. Ethereum turned the market around because the focus went from cryptocurrencies to blockchain. And suddenly, everyone started focusing on this technology again and not so much on the price hype. And I still remember, I mean, this was for the very first time when Vitalik came in, when Ethereum came in, and suddenly there was a different use case. Not only cryptocurrencies, but there were use cases like a decentralized computer and all its connected things through smart contracts. That kind of then suddenly made blockchain sexy and suddenly made cryptocurrencies sexy. And it took a year or so until this happened, but this had a really huge push. And at the end, this then, again, switched over to Bitcoin, and that's actually what drove the Bitcoin price up. And for those that are still here from those years, and this is now quite some time ago, you will agree with me. When Ethereum came in, we were all like, I'm not sure if this is going to work. Why did they create a new blockchain? Why not use Bitcoin? But at the end, it was what drove the price up and what really brought value back and basically brought enthusiasm back. So why am I telling you this story? Well, I'm telling you this story because I think at the moment, we really need to restructure a bit. And we need to kind of maybe go back a bit to the underlying technology and really think back to what is decentralization and what does it stand for and what are its real use cases. And I'm actually going to put a bit of my own, because what I'm going to be doing in some of the next kind of videos, depending on what Ruben does, because obviously, as you know, Ruben kind of manages my YouTube account. I just create the content, which doesn't take so much time, thank God. He kind of manages all that and posts these things. But so, depending on how he throws in these videos, I will talk a little bit about a few other blockchain applications that are, in my opinion, really on the verge right now on coming out and being ready. And there are a couple that are really, really, really interesting. And we see them all over, right? And this is stuff that we talk a lot, for example, when I am in a workshop for the European Union, or when I talk to banks. When I talk, and I mean, a lot of this talking doesn't just come because, I don't know, I want to talk to them. It's because it's some really potential great partners going forward for 10x. And so we want to understand what's happening there. Don't forget, with Comet at 10x, we do want to connect blockchains. We're not talking about only cryptocurrencies, talking about blockchains, right? So there's such a huge use case in all these things. And we will be talking on all kinds of different things. And we're going to cover a couple of other use cases of blockchain, because I think there are some that are really ready. One that I'm probably going to talk about quite early on is that of so-called logistics, right? Like where you talk about, or where you kind of display logistics on a blockchain, and thereby you can increase trust. And talking about all the things that, well, can be challenged with this. And I want to do this because I hope that people that at least follow this personal channel of mine, right? And I understand, personal channel, very different to 10x, especially at the moment. But I do want to remind people of the technology here and of decentralization and the blockchain. And my hope is that with that, we're going to increase so many use cases that hopefully with a lot of other people who see the value and who see the understanding, the entire pool of cryptocurrencies get pulled up again. And I'm doing this right now because I really feel that it's a great time to look at other use cases. And these are things that many times, with all the money and price hype, people tend to forget. They tend to forget that there's some really awesome use cases out there, right? Also, the use case that brought me into blockchain medicine. There's some companies who are doing some fantastic stuff in this area. And yes, I understand at the moment all these other blockchains also have coins, but I'm not going to talk about specific projects. I really want to talk about some of these ideas and some of these executions. Some of them still need to take some steps. And that's going to be something that I think is going to be quite exciting. And yeah, I hope that some of you are actually going to listen to this and maybe get inspired to some of these use cases that we're going to be talking in the future. And you're going to say, wow, you know what? I actually have a lot of expertise. Let me help out there. Or maybe I have a solution to some problem right now. And yeah, I think that's going to be a very interesting also time. And I think it's in those times when markets are really dull and everything is depressive to really kind of get down to someone's roots. And at the end, the roots or the root of cryptocurrencies is decentralization. And so at the end, that's really what I want to talk about. I personally, and you know this, I don't think the solution to centralization is having half centralization. I think the solution to these centralized systems that we have is full decentralization, and then combining those systems and getting the mix out of this, but not having the mix in the same system. So I will not talk about other systems right now that are not 100% decentralized. And I want to cover a couple of those and discuss those, and I think that's going to be quite interesting. So that is basically what brought the price around in 2015, 2016. I hope it's not going to take that long this year, that we have to wait 1.5 years. At the moment, I'm still quite confident that the price can get really, really strong if we just have a small flip. Anything can happen there. And yeah, so let's see what happens. And if the prices take longer to recover, then at least we learn a lot. And I think that's going to be super valuable. So let me know what you think if you've been in crypto since 2015. Let me know what you remember from this time, what brought the price around. Yeah, the good old days as always, right? And yeah, I'll keep in mind having some alternative blockchain projects that are not cryptocurrencies necessarily directly. So with this, I'm gonna do the German version of this as well. Afterwards, I'm gonna go for a late evening run. Here in Singapore today, you don't see this right now, but they've been flying the entire day with helicopters and fighter jets because it's preparation for Singapore National Day, and that's actually quite a spectacle from here. But yeah, tonight, going for a nice late evening run. So with this, enjoy your nice evening, have a great weekend, and yeah, subscribe to the channel if you want to have more from all this. With this, see you soon. Yours truly, Julian. Bye-bye.